So I think we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Heidi Garvin from GROW Nebraska, and I'd like to welcome you all to our third Thursday training featuring John Heaston. We are quite excited about this. This is a free training sponsored by U.S. Bank. This is how we keep these trainings as affordable as possible. And the audio from this presentation will be available after the fact. I will email it out to all of you following the presentation so that if you forget something and you want to go back and listen to it again, you will have it. John, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
All right. Thanks, Heidi. Hello, everybody. This is a presentation that we've given a couple of times. It's updated a little. Some of it kind of references going back to about the middle of last year, but it's all current. And so what we're going to walk through are kind of some of the little bit of an introduction and then a little bit of an overview of where search is going, and then we'll finish up talking about kind of things you really want to be thinking about, starting off with things that you want to try and get fixed right away to a little bit of a heavier lift. How do I maximize my online presence? So about middle of last year, Google kind of blew the doors open with what they called Google My Business. And, kind of the doorway to that's google.com/business. But it combined Google Maps, what formerly had been Google Maps and Google Business Places, and combined that with Google Plus Local to kind of create a brand new interface for businesses to help manage their Google presence. I dare say this is just about as important as your website, particularly in local search and if you are a brick-and-mortar business. This is a little bit geared towards the brick-and-mortars, but there are lessons that come out of this that apply across industries and, different business models. And so, kind of there's an overall piece to this, which is with online to take advantage of the opportunities that are offered. You are becoming your own publisher. And this is really the first time ever a business has an opportunity to reach a mass audience without having to pay the post office or one of the few companies controlling a printing press or broadcast license. While the tools are new, the fundamentals of marketing haven't changed. A little bit about myself. I'm the publisher, editor, and one of the founders of The Reader paper in Omaha. We'd be about the fourth largest paper in the state. We just celebrated our 20th year, and we, in 2004, partnered with a company called ABM Enterprises, so we also do a bilingual publication serving the Latino community in the Omaha area. And then in 2005, we launched OmahaJobs.com. And shortly thereafter, partnered with some of the staff that was at the Employment Guide, and we run the biggest job fairs in Omaha now. Dinah Gomez is not here to help present. She often is, but we've got an extra special edition in Clay Seaman, who oversees OmahaJobs.com for us. Probably done 700 job fairs, I think, in his career, and has been real instrumental in helping us get into these services, and particularly managing what we call local SEO. And we'll be talking a bit about that. Thank you so much for being here. We work with a lot of small businesses and, truly appreciate the gumption, the knowledge, all the lessons that you've learned and go through every day. So thank you. And basically this is built from what we've read. You'll get a number of sources as we go through this, things that we've tested and have seen work here. And we definitely welcome any feedback. A little bit more about ourselves. How do we get into this? Part of that was keeping up with our audience. I'm on kind of slide 5 now, and this is data from DoubleClick and the Pew Internet Project, and it shows the average age of audience. And, you know, you'll see your news and your newspapers, your daily newspaper up there, you know, in the 50s. And when you look at your online audience, LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, you know, you drop down into your 40s. The reader, being 20 years, our audience has a median age of 36. So part of this was keeping up with our audience, but really it was keeping up with our advertising customers' needs. And so in 2007, when the economy was falling off the cliff and nobody wanted to talk about advertising, we figured they did want to talk about Google. And so we used a website that's no longer around, rest in peace, getlisted.org, which gave a really good kind of overview of a business's presence in online directories. And there were a bunch of steps people could do for free that would help their rankings in Google. And we started using that mostly as a door opener. And then we get in and say, here's all the free things you can do for Google and about your advertising. About a year later, we go back, 6 months to a year later, and we say, hey, all those free things, you haven't done them. And people told us, well, yeah, I'm running a business, it's busy, I got to deal with this, can you just do it? And so that's how we got into really managing local SEO. That quickly led to websites, social media. We think our biggest strength is going to be in the content marketing side. We have the largest team of freelance writers, videographers in this community. So we're able to really bring some creative content talent to bear. And content is still king. At the end of the day, that's going to win the race for you. That led us into some real advanced SEO, direct marketing opportunities. I'm one of 3 Google Trusted Photographers in Nebraska. So we're doing what they call Google Business View tours. And we've learned that in this crazy world of online that's continually evolving, and there's always, new players, and the existing players are changing how things happen, it's our persistence in sticking with it, understanding it, trying it, testing it, using forums, doing lots of Google searches, that we've met some great experts. We've learned a lot of things. It's not an easy path. Anybody on this call, there's nobody to call at Google or Facebook unless you buy an ad. But a lot of these answers are online, and I'm kind of, for us, it was the journalism training of being able to evaluate sources and start identifying, who really knew what they were talking about, and then, really starting to pay attention to them. So just kind of a quick word on business search, social, and publishing. Why is online important? Business, of course. And I'm on the slide now from Nielsen, and it talks about which mediums are trusted the most in purchasing decisions. At the top of the list is a thing called recommendations from people I know, a.k.a. word of mouth. If I had $1 for every time somebody told me they didn't need advertising, they had word of mouth, I never would have had to get into publishing. It is the key driver of business. The people that know you, that like you, who have used your service, and they tell their friends and their families, that is always going to be, your best source of referrals in new business. What's new in this mix is online reviews continue to grow, so recommendations from people who I don't know at all, but who I think have had a similar experience to me. Websites, of course. Anybody in the world can find you. Then we get into kind of some of the traditional magazines, newspapers, but you see emails. All of this points to the top of that pyramid of building trusted relationships with your customers and your prospects is always going to do better than advertising. And for a guy who sold advertising for 20 years, this was a very kind of painful process, but this is the world we live in. So one of the things to kind of think about and always understand, big picture stuff here, social and search is a blurring battle. It's truly global. The 2 most visited websites in the world are Google and Facebook. Google's increasingly trying to get social. Facebook's increasingly trying to add search. Just kind of as a side note, Pinterest is a new social site, not that new, but they're claiming we're discovery. So everybody's kind of got their angle. There's a lot of players. Twitter for that microblogging, that's just steady stream of short content. Instagram, which is part of Facebook, of course. LinkedIn in the business world. And looking at this chart here, which kind of is a good overview, the big one that is missing is actually the world's second largest search engine and another aspiring social media player, which is YouTube, which, of course, is also owned by Google. We recommend Moz.com as a great resource for understanding online. And this is a graph that they came up with that kind of explains how search and social work together. Basically, consumers search the web to solve a problem or be entertained. Consumers engage in social media to share with friends, get advice. In order to succeed in both of these, you want to be the authority in your field with an informed, inviting social media and brand advocates. Those are those word-of-mouth folks that are out there that can speak for you and engage in your content and share it with other people. What you ultimately want to do is help build that. It's just like bringing real-world relationships online. People have asked us, so for instance, can we manage their Facebook page for them? And to me, that's a lot like asking us to answer their phones or answer their emails. There are ways to set up your social media so that it's manageable and you're not on there 24/7. It's the same thing as, the sooner you can respond, always the better, but, generally within one working day. And so you want to kind of get used to spending a little bit of time on your social media. But we're going to get into here real quick the lay of the search land. So it's real important people kind of understand in a Google search what happens. And what you'll see here clearly, you have these items marked with ads. Those are the first two at the top. That's the right rails going down. These are people that are paying for attention so that they're showing up in searches related to your business. As a side note, if you ever see a competitor using your name in one of these ads, that is a trademark violation. It is very common for businesses, competitors, to buy your business name as an ad word so that their ad shows up every time someone searches for your business. That's okay. But what they can't do is use the name of your business in their ad. And we have seen that. It's a trademark violation. Google will ask them to remove that ad. But search your name and look at who's maybe advertising around you. You might be surprised. After that, it's what we call earned authority or search engine optimization. And that's basically the website. In this example, you'll see the Better Business Bureau, bbb.org, Backlund Plumbing. And then underneath that is what we call the local pack. This is kind of earned proximity. A lot of this is geographically based. You can always distinguish it because it's got the little red balloon, it's got an address, it's got a phone number right there. You'll usually see some reviews. Reviews are a key driver of that result. But those are kind of the three areas when you look at a Google search to kind of understand. They play differently. Knowing the lay of the social land, this is just kind of a quick pointer on Facebook. Your cover photo, this is kind of how Facebook explains it. That cover photo, we don't coast, we bring you home, that's the welcome. That's the first thing people see when they land on your Facebook page. Then they look down at the bar to see timeline about photos. What are you offering? If they're looking to explore, they'll always see, how many likes you have and which of their friends like your business. You got to make sure you have a business page, not a personal page. And just to address something real quick, there is no such thing as a login to a Facebook business page. You log into a Facebook business page with your personal Facebook account. So don't set up another Facebook account to log into a Facebook business account. You use your own personal account. Underneath the friends is kind of key information. And then, of course, over to the right rail, they've got paid and sponsored positions. After that, there's Google Plus, there's Pinterest, and then we really kind of get into the review sites. I think are really the most important. Now, that can change depending on your industry. But in general, you want to make sure you're paying attention to Google Plus. You want to set up a Pinterest page, and you want to make sure you're staying on top of your reviews. One thing is you're kind of evaluating, because I get these calls all the time, never forget who you are and where you are always matters in an online search. So we have, for instance, a customer who has a very sizable business in the old market, a restaurant. And when he searches on his computer for old market restaurants, his business is always at the top. Well, that's because his homepage is his website, and he clicks on his link. So Google knows that he likes that result. So they give him that result. When I search for my home and look for an old market restaurant, he's not even on the first page. So it can be that big of a difference. One of the best ways to test this, and it's not perfect, but it's kind of the best free thing out there, is if you use Google Chrome, and it should work on any operating system, you can open Google Chrome and you'll get into something under the File tab where you'll see New Incognito Window. And that basically hides your browsing history. So it's the closest you can get easily to saying, I'm just Joe Public, anonymous person. I'm looking for a business. What are the results going to be? So if you want to check out how am I appearing in Google, do it through an incognito Chrome window. Be very aware of the device. This is coming up all the time. People are searching for information just about everywhere. This information is from Google. They're doing it on their smartphones. They're doing it on their computer. They're doing it on their tablets. It's pretty much universal. For the first time, mobile searches are going to surpass desktop searches. So being mobile ready is very, very important. It's also increasingly going to be an important signal in your search engine optimization and how you appear in search results. In fact, Google's starting to send out kind of some warnings that if your mobile presence not up to snuff, that you might be getting a warning from them to fix it. We generally treat the computer and tablet the same. The website that shows up on the computer is the same website that shows up on the tablet. We change it when it comes to a phone because the footprint's that much smaller. Appreciate where people are at in their purchase cycle. It always matters. There's an inspiration part. I've got an idea. Then they research it. What are my options? Then they get into, okay, this is what I'm going to buy. And there's also a post-purchase that you want to kind of do. And again, people are on all devices doing all of these kinds of searches. Search is relative but trackable. You want to know Google Webmaster and you want to know your analytics tools. The Google search algorithm evolves, but we kind of have an idea where it's heading. We don't know the specifics, but we know the general direction. So I'm going to give you kind of a little bit of an overview of how things have evolved in getting ranked in Google. This kind of comes from Search Engine Watch via Milestone Marketing. Great bunch out of Dallas that does a lot of work. Keywords and backlinks were always the key to getting ranked in Google, from day one. And, of course, everybody remembers a time when that used to work pretty well, but then it started giving you pages that were just stuffed with words that didn't make any sense, were full of ads. And as Google kind of saw that people were gaming their system, the Penguin update came along, which heavily penalized websites for doing what they call keyword stuffing and having bad links. People were creating kind of farms of websites to send links to try and make it look like their website had authority. Google caught on to that pretty quick, and that was a huge shift. Then with their Panda update, they started looking for content that wasn't very useful was clearly designed to kind of just draw clicks, but didn't really answer customers' questions, and they started penalizing duplicate content more. That kind of led us into this Hummingbird update, which really looks at search as a conversation. And now all of a sudden, local signals, links and shares and other things that are around you or even in your industry began to matter more. And what we call NAP, name, address, phone, became very, very important in your online identity. Whether you know it or not, if you have a business that's out there, Google has set up a page for you. And they're doing that off the name, address, phone. And if there's variations on your name, address, or phone, there's very likely you might have duplicate Google pages, and Facebook's doing the same thing. They're trying to drive businesses into using their services. So whether you wanted it or not, you got a page, and you better go claim it and eliminate the duplicates. We'll talk about more of that in a second. Content, again, increasingly important. They're looking at the kind of the chatter, how are people talking about you, and reviews. This has just happened in the last 3 months. It's been almost 2 years where all of a sudden you just could not find a Yelp review on Google. It used to be you'd look for a business and a Yelp review would show up pretty quick. Just this fall, all of a sudden Yelp's back. And Yelp is showing some really heavy results, even in markets like Omaha where Yelp does not have heavy usage. But reviews matter depending on your industry. We work with a number of home service categories, so the Better Business Bureau all of a sudden becomes really important, more important than it had been for your online presence before. Things like Porch.com, House.com, those are kind of key service categories. In medical, you're seeing things like Healthgrades.com, Vitals.com. So there's kind of this exploding review space. And it's important to pay attention to it because if people are searching for you, those results are coming up. And then the social graph matters. As big of a battle as Facebook and Google are having, and I'm sure it pains the guys at Google, but they're showing Facebook results. And, links on Facebook can show up indexed in Google. So Google's smart enough to know that while they might be a monopoly, they better not act like one. And these are important online signals, that establish authority. But in July of last year, they brought in what's called the Pigeon update. So it was actually in July of last year that you saw the review sites and the directories getting a much bigger boost. What they call the local pack, the search results, the little red balloons, the number of results kind of shrank. They got a little bit better at trying to target you. This is not to be confused with PigeonRank. And I put a link on this page, but you can kind of read the short description. This is Google trying to be funny, and their explanation, they have a thing they call PigeonRank, which is based on the fact that there are clusters of pigeons pecking a keyboard. Now, where are things going and kind of the whole ecosphere? Now, this kind of came out of this milestone again. This came out in the middle of last year. We see this continuing for this year. We don't see any huge changes on this, except that I'd probably add more about reviews into a key 2015 trend. But you're seeing search and social come together. People are searching for businesses on Facebook. And social media is impacting your search engine optimization, as will Google+. At the very core of it, and one of the biggest areas of cleanup is going to be your local presence. That's a name, address, phone. One of the key figures in this is a guy by the name of Mike Blumenthal. He's kind of the online local SEO guru, I think out of upstate New York. And so this is what drives local Google search results for your business. He's got a web equity graph that he's built that we basically subscribe to, that we probably, again, move reviews into a stronger position. but it's a name, address, and a phone that never change. That's the core of your online identity. And you can find out more at blumenthal's.com, and we'll bring him up again here in just a minute. Address is critical for local. After that, it's really kind of your online brand, who you are, your blog, your website. Really should almost be the same thing. But I think when we say blog, we're talking about the idea of a steady drip of content. A steady drip of content shows Google that you're alive, that you have a pulse, and of course, the better the content, the more people can find it. After that, we get into comments, testimonials, kind of moving our way outside that core circle. You don't see a lot of commenting now. There's just too much spam. But testimonials, that's reviews. Same difference. One of the things we encourage all of our customers to do is to make sure they have an email list and they're growing it. You can never count on Google and their search results. Things can change. You don't control that. You can't control what Facebook allows you to do and who you can reach. But if you have an email, you can always control that one-on-one communication with your customer. So whatever you do, try and build that email list. Keep building it. Nurture it. That is one of your lifelines. All right, let's talk a little bit now about the Google My Business and the new Google experience, as they call it. This has taken off kind of some of their promotional stuff. They talk about connecting directly with customers and fans. Well, I added kind of my parentheses in red. Well, that's only if they have Google Plus can you really connect to them. Stay on top of reviews across the web. Well, they're tracking some reviews, but not all of them. At the time we actually started doing this, Yelp wasn't showing up. Now Yelp's kind of starting to show up. And you can respond to some of them. Now, you'll look at the bottom of this Google My Business dashboard. You can tie in your website, your Google Analytics, in which case you'll have kind of a lot of the key information in one spot. And, of course, right down there in the lower left is buy some AdWords. What is this? The Google My Business drives kind of your key information. It's the key driver for your local SEO results, that red balloon with the address and the phone number. It's critical to increasing the ranking of your website. And when people do a mobile search, it's how they find, if everybody's done a search for a business on their phone, on Google, when they see the results, generally there's call, directions, website buttons. And a lot of people find your business this way. When you get into your Google My Business dashboard, you can see how many times people clicked on that website, looked to get directions, or called your business. You might have more people interacting with your business this way than you actually do on your website. And we've seen that happen. One of the other things that they really promote is adding photos. Photos are extremely shareable. They're driving a lot of Facebook engagement. That's why there's Instagram, that's Pinterest, and all these kind of sites that have come online based around images. And so if you have a brick and mortar location that people can come in and see, doing a Google tour helps your SEO. And it helps customers kind of explore before they come to your location. We've had good results with it. We can't make the claims that Google's making that foot traffic increased 20% or reservations increased 30%. But it's kind of a one-time deal. You can embed it on your website. It's a good investment in your SEO. Google My Business content in Google search. So when you're in your Google My Business page, they want you to share photos, find people. And so this is Google trying to go Facebook. Now, there was a report 2 weeks ago about the death of Google Plus. And it's kind of like the Mark Twain quote, about my demise, being eminently overreported. I totally slaughtered that, sorry. But they're breaking off some of the photo pieces of Google to give it more functionality, but it's still going to tie into Google+. Google+ does still have an account. And go on to the next one, Google+ impacts search results. It's not the strongest signal, but it is a signal. Anybody who follows your business on Google+, they're more likely to see your content in search results. Any people who follow those people on Google who +1 any of your content are likely to see an increase in search results. There is a time decay, so publishing something regularly is valuable. What we're recommending to people right now is whatever you're posting on Facebook, they throw it on Google+. In a year or two, Google could throw all this out. We're going to be like, hey, sorry. But for right now, it's a good signal. It's something you want to kind of stay on top of. It doesn't take that much time. What a lot of people don't realize is if you have a Gmail account, you have a Google+ account. And so even being connected with customers by Gmail can help you show up more in their search results. Now, of course, the trick is if you can build a Google+ audience. When you're in my Google My Business dashboard, you'll see this a lot. Not enough data. Learn about growing your audience on Google+. Well, we just don't have enough people around here on Google+. But if they start showing, we'll put that in. Either way, we optimize our Google My Business page so that it helps in our rankings because that is a significant way people find us. But today you are your own media channel, marketers or publishers. You're in the content business, whether you like it or not, and the hardest part is going to be consistency. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but now let's start getting into the weeds here. To get started and kind of find your pace, we want to make sure you get the basics exactly accurate. That's name, address, phone, plus website, map plus W. You've got a functional mobile view of your website. You're using images and working images, and you're tagging those images to alt tag. Start building an audience, even in G+. And there's the idea of the minimum viable audience. If it just starts with your mom and your wife, that's an audience. And try and build it from 2 to 3 to 4. These things generally look like a hockey stick. It's a really long, slow haul to get up to 100 and 200. But all of a sudden, getting to 300, 400, 500 starts happening a lot quicker. That network effect starts kicking in for you. Get creative, and yes, get consistent. Consistency is huge. And then measure, respond, and engage. Learn what works, what doesn't work, and double down on the stuff that's working for you. In general, content drives 55% more website visitors. It increases business. Social media influences decision, according to Media Bistro. 74% of American consumers rely on social media to help influence their purchasing decisions. And half of that say Facebook is the number one influencer. Build an audience, and they will come if you stay consistent. Talk real quick here about ZMont. This is one of the most important things you can do. ZMont came out in 2011. It was very important for me in redefining how I looked at what we do. And ZMont stands for the zero moment of truth. And in marketing, the last 50 years, there was the first moment of truth and the second moment of truth. The first moment of truth was you heard an ad, you had a need, you were looking for a product or service. And the first moment of truth is you're considering that purchase and you're looking at the product or service. It's walking into the grocery store aisle and looking at all the cereal boxes. There's the first moment of truth. Which one's, kind of drawing my eye? Then the second moment of truth was using that product or service. Did it live up to its billing? And if it did, you've got a returning customer. Well, Google very rightly introduced the idea of zero moment of truth. And then again, very painful for a newspaper publisher to admit this, but when people see an ad, when they have a need, the first thing they do is they go to Google it, and they look online. So there's this zero moment of truth, and that's where the battle for customers starts. That's why you want to really focus on it. I borrowed this graph here, and I should give credit for it, because this is not It's kind of the first four are borrowed from Google, but there's also this last one called the ultimate moment of truth, UMOT. And that's sharing your experience. So it's one thing for somebody to use your product or service, have a great experience, be a return customer. It's a whole other level if you get them to share that publicly with their friends on any of your online presences, because now you have a brand ambassador, and those people are gold. You can tell everybody in the world how great you are on your website, but nothing is as good as some stranger saying you're just as great. So do a ZMOT, and there's actually 3 main searches that Google sees that have purchase intent, and it's what your industry or town. So in this example, if I'm looking for a realtor in Omaha, I just search Realtor Omaha, and I see what comes up. The next search is best industry town. So, I don't just want any realtor. I want the best realtor. So I type in best realtor Omaha, see what comes up. And then people also search for reviews. So they'll type in the industry, and then they'll hit reviews. And so you want to do that search and see where you rank, and that'll tell you what kind of work. You could also put, and I encourage everybody to do this, do these searches with your business name as well and see what comes up. Make sure you know that. One of the things, those are like the 3 most common searches. You want to look at your keywords and kind of what are the next level of searches that people are asking. Google used to be a little bit more forthcoming with this information, particularly in analytics results. They're not as much anymore. But one way you can do kind of a quick check and just kind of think about how people are typing in listings is to use the Google AdWords Keyword Planner. It's a free service. You can go in, you can set your geography. You put in your website, you put in some general terms, and they'll show you all the related terms that people are looking for. And that kind of gives you a bigger range, and you also will see the search results. So you can test out, again, in a Chrome incognito window, try some of the other more common keywords for your product or service, and you see where you're showing up in results and what people are saying. Next, name, address, phone, website. So look for your Google Plus page, or you can create one. And if you go to plus.google.com, you'll see a little button on the left that says Home. You want to click on that, scroll down till you find Local, and then you'll be able to enter a business name and a city name. And you'll see if you have a Google Plus page. It's very, very likely that you do. To claim this, go to google.com/mybusiness, and you'll start typing in the name of your business, and it'll autofill, showing up showing all the results that they have that might be related to that. Make sure you claim your business identity on the major review sites, and then we also work on helping people with the most important directories. You can check on your presence in online directories. There's 2 places. One is moz.com/local. The other one is naptunelistings.com. You'll enter your basic business information, and it'll show you how many results online reference your business and your core business information in the major directory. Info Group, which is based here in Omaha, also has an express update service. It's really key to make sure your information is exactly the same in all of the online directories. That gives you an edge in showing up in search results. That tells Google that your information, if it's exactly the same in all of these spots, has to be right, has to be really, really right. One of the other places to look is we see this all the time, where businesses are looking under categories. There's kind of 2 places we encourage you, 3 places to go. Blumenthal.com has a category search tool, as does Moz.com. And both are based on the OSHA.gov Standard Industrial Classification Code. So you can always look there. And just to kind of show you why it's so important to make sure your information is exactly the same in all of these different locations, we have a local search ecosystem graph that we take from Moz. This is put together by a guy by the name of David Mim, who used to run GetListed.org. And here are probably the top 50 directories and their relationships to each other. There's probably another 10,000 directories behind them that don't matter as much. But the real core is info group. It starts with Newstar, and they have a division called Local East. Newstar is the company that has the contract to keep the database of all United States phone numbers. So when you go to Verizon, you turn on a phone, Verizon tells Newstar, here's the phone number and here's who it goes to. So that when somebody from AT&T on the East Coast calls you, they send a signal to Newstar, say, here's the number, where does that number go? Newstar says, send it over to Verizon in Nebraska. So Newstar starts with kind of the repository of all the phone numbers. Info Group here in Omaha is the only company that consistently follows up on those, tries to verify the information, deepen the data. Google Plus, Facebook, both license data from both of these. So when Google Plus and Facebook go and set up business pages, they're getting that data from Info Group and Local East. And I was at Info Group's Data Users Conference 2 years ago, and, the local search association, the phone book company was in there, a whole bunch of folks, but we all just sat and watched Google and Bing go back and forth. So this is kind of the map, it's a big mess. And when your map or when your information kind of slightly changes across these, it creates data confusion and it hurts your search results. One of the most important things you can do to kind of try and identify these duplicates is go in and do a Facebook search, or as I was just saying, do that plus.google.com search, and you start typing in the business name and look for the autofill results. This is a client we work for, Upstream Brewing Company in the Old Market, and they tried to do both their locations on one Facebook page, and they listed their address kind of in the same spot. So they put two addresses into the address field. Well, Bing runs Facebook's maps, and Bing read the last part. So while they thought they had a Facebook page for two locations, to Facebook and the rest of the world, it was really their West Omaha location. That was the address that Bing was reading and serving up. Meanwhile, Google set up another page for them for their Old Market location, which had 8 times as many check-ins, I think knocking on 30,000, that they had no idea existed. People were posting things to this page, and nobody knew to check, nobody knew to respond. So we helped get that claim for them and get most of it straightened out. There's still a few that pop up, but it's like whack-a-mole. Reviews are both backlinks and social. And not emphasizing enough how important reviews are, not only to your ranking in Google, but also helping to inform the consumer, and they're making decisions about their purchase. And when you can get a positive review, that's gold. So get more reviews, always answered. Part of this is a presentation that I gave to MP Dodge Real Estate Agents. And they have 2 review sites that are very important in real estate. And one's Trulia, one's Zillow. When I first talked to them about, giving this presentation, I was like, hey, who is this agent, this Rachel Tiller? He said, oh, well, she was a middle school teacher until a few years ago, but she's now one of our top performers and became a top seller in 2013. And I'm like, well, I bet you I know why, because she is a monster on reviews. She has a ton of reviews. She always responds to them. She responds to them quickly. I could imagine if I was searching real estate agent reviews and she came up, I'd have a lot of confidence in calling her, putting her near the top of my list. Same thing with Yelp. One of the top sellers 3 years in a row is the only one that really had a complete good Yelp review set up. Now, I've talked a lot about off-site kinds of things. There are still a lot of important things that need to happen with your website. We won't get into all of that technical detail, but I'd encourage you to make sure you know about schema.org. That's kind of a collaboration between the world's major search engines to mark information on websites, to make it useful for search engines. Title tags are very important. You want to internally link header tags, image name, and alt tags. Bolding matters. And again, content. Google knows how long people are on your site. And if they're clicking through your site, finding information, that's a big plus to Google. Things to do next. After you've kind of got your site set, your off-site basics taken care of, is getting a content plan and sharing it on all your platforms. We encourage content for the website and then push it out on your social media channels and put it everywhere. And then I'm running a little bit late, but another really important thing to understand, web success is like two hikers that run into a bear. You don't have to outrun the bear, you only have to outrun the other hiker. So, you got to beat your competition. That's how you get ranked. And that's just consistent use of best practices, consistent use of content. And there's my spiel.
Awesome. Does anybody have questions?
I was wondering if some of the things that he described verbally is really hard to write down or know what the name of it was. Will this be available in text format?
Oh, there's a Google slideshow that's available.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
Great.
I just sent that out before the call. If you didn't get it, let me know. But I will also be sending it out again when I send out the audio to this presentation.
Okay, great. Well, I saw the reminder for today, but I didn't see the one come after I registered today for the visual part. Okay, I'll watch for that. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Heidi, this is Shelley. Did you get my question I sent in to you?
Yes. And John, I believe I forwarded those to you in an email.
Which one is this then?
This would be, let's see. Shelley wanted to know, they purchased their company about 3.5 years ago. The previous owners do not have a phone number listed online, so there's been some confusion between their businesses. They still... Yeah. Shelley, I was going to say, if you want to explain it, I'll let you go ahead.
Well, I can't untangle our address and our business from theirs because our phone number pops up still connected to their business, and I don't know how to unconnect it.
What town are you in, Shelley?
Hastings.
And it's Barn Candle Company?
Yep.
All right, I'm pulling you up right now. So 4636922 is not your number?
That is our number.
Okay.
But it also pulls up Barn Festival and Barn, just the Barn.
And are those going businesses?
Yeah. But they don't have a phone number listed anywhere online. So it confuses people there. It's bringing up both businesses, and they have similar names.
I see. Well,
I've claimed
my
business.
What's that?
I went on Google and I claimed ours, but with our phone number still connected with theirs, I don't know what to do now.
It looks like you still need to verify your Google Plus page. Did you do a phone verification, or did they send you a postcard?
think I did either. Oh, no, I've talked to Google people on the phone. I didn't get a postcard.
Okay. So if you search the name of your business, right?
Yeah.
Barn Camping Company, Hastings, Nebraska. And you'll see that little red balloon show up.
Yep.
And you see that link says Google Plus page? Click on that. Scroll down, and on the left you see, is this your business?
Yep.
Click on Manage This page and follow those directions.
Okay.
Now, this is going to get you control of this page. You'll be able to do more with it. You can update the photo. You can even put a statement saying, hey, we're not the Barn Festival. Since the Barn Festival or the Barn doesn't have a phone number, I wish I could tell you that you would stop getting those calls, but until they set up their Google page, people are looking. They don't know you're the closest result. They might keep calling you. But at least, maybe you can kind of put something somewhere saying, you're looking for the Barn Festival, here's the number.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll work on this then.
Okay. Yeah, follow those directions to claim that page.
Okay. I thought I'd already done this, but I guess I just changed the location. I got the address fixed.
That's good.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Now you can put in a beautiful picture of your candles.
Okay.
Perfect.
That's all.
Are there any other questions? All right. Well, John, is it okay if they contact you if they do have any other questions in the future?
Absolutely.
Perfect. We'll be sending out John's contact information. And I do want to remind everyone that we do have GROW Nebraska's Market Tech Conference coming up. That will be on April 22nd in Kearney, Nebraska. And we will have a Google representative there if you'd like to continue to learn about this subject. And if you're interested in learning more about accessing capital for your business, that's going to be the topic of our next Third Thursday training. I'd like to, again, huge thank you, John. Thank you for presenting today. Thank you to everybody who participated. And a quick thank you to U.S. Bank for sponsoring this month. I hope everybody has a good day.
Thank you.